We all know farming has changed. With new and ever-advancing technologies, American farming and ranching doesn't look like it used to. Across the country, in operations big and small, we're making choices that help keep agriculture sustainable for your grandchildren and ours. Our values are the same. We grow crops and raise livestock and poultry so you can raise families that are happy and healthy. And thanks to innovations in agriculture, we're feeding more people with fewer resources. With innovation come questions, and we're here with answers. So let's talk. From basic terminology so you can speak the same language and ask the right questions, to complex topics like environmental impact and GMOs. Food dialogues exist to provide answers to your questions about food, straight from the people who produce it. So get to know who we are, how we work, and why we love what we do.
Thank you for joining us for our Agri-Pulse Washington Week in Review. I'm Spencer Chase, flying solo this week near Morgan, Minnesota at Farm Fest, where the House Agriculture Committee held a listening session to discuss the upcoming Farm Bill with producers and organizational representatives from Minnesota. I had a chance to talk with House Ag Committee Chair Mike Conaway and Ranking Member Collin Peterson and get their thoughts on the listening session. I guess for starters, kind of some initial thoughts that you had on this listening session in particular?
Well, your heartfelt comments by producers, real people, the folks that are living with the 50% drop in net farm income over the last 4 years, the worst since the Great Depression. Much like we had in Texas, people sharing with us their thoughts, obviously, but some really nice, good comments and heartfelt comments that will help us hopefully craft this farm bill. As with any public policy, you heard a couple of issues where you had people on different sides of the issue, and trying to find the path between those two that everybody can be supportive of at the end of the day. Not everybody getting exactly what they want, but enough of what they wanted that they can that they can agree with the process, and then help garner the support in Congress that's necessary to get this thing passed.
And this was listening session number 3.
Yes.
Had one earlier this week in Texas and one a month or two ago in Florida.
In June.
Yeah, and I'm wondering what's ringing true. What's some consistent themes that you're hearing across all 3 of these listening sessions?
Crop insurance. Keep it as a vital part of it. Fine-tune the Title I programs. Doesn't necessarily start over. Fine-tune those. Get cotton back into the Title I programming. Fix the dairy margin protection insurance program. It's not working as well as it could, and make the improvements there. Foot and mouth disease and high-path avian flu. Vaccine banks, and particularly on the surveillance side, a beefed-up program for livestock. Monitoring on stuff coming into this country. Those are pretty much the common themes that we saw. Here today we heard more about organics than we've heard in the other places in terms of they want that program to be strengthened. Quite frankly, they want the rules enforced, and all of us would like that. That would help improve the, one of the things I heard today that I hadn't been hearing is that organic corn prices have fallen because of what may be corn being sold into the market that's not really organic, that's being sold under the organic label, and that oversupply coming out of other countries. That those tests need to be run on that product so that if it's not organic, then it just gets sold as regular corn. If it is organic, then that's fine. But enforcing those rules, and that can be done now. We don't have to wait on the Farm Bill to make that improvement.
It's a big to-do list. Are you guys going to be able to address all of these concerns in an upcoming Farm Bill?
My staff, we go through each one of these listening sessions, looking for those things that we hadn't heard before and ferreting it out. But this is the process of every Farm Bill. I think if you went back and looked at the 96, 02, 08, 14 Farm Bills, at this stage, they too were having these same kind of conversations. Here's what we want, here's what we don't want, those kind of things going on. So the beauty of doing the Farm Bill every 5 years is that you get to address the things that didn't work in the last one. You get to be more nimble on new ideas that are coming forward and that might need a better way to do something. And so while it may be hard, I think it's the right thing. It's clearly the right thing to do in my mind, because it does allow fixing the things that aren't working, and then it also allows you to jettison those things that didn't work and bring in new ideas that should help production agriculture continue to provide the most abundant, affordable, and safest food and fiber supply in the developed world.
And correct me if I'm wrong on this, but two more listening sessions, one at the end of the week in California.
We got California Saturday, Illinois end of the month, and then there may be one more or two after that.
And then are you going to be able to write a farm bill based on the information you've gotten from the last couple of years of lobbying and this month or two here of listening sessions?
Short answer, yes.
Do you have the information there?
Yeah, absolutely.
And you mentioned this a little bit in an availability with the press earlier today, but just for my own purposes, you've said quite frequently that in conversations with leadership, you're going to wait for that window of time when you're going to be able to go to the floor.
Well, yes, floor time is that's the responsibility of the leader. Kevin McCarthy scheduled that, and so in all of the other things that are going on, he has to give it a slot, and he's going to give me a slot sometime in the late fourth quarter, early fourth quarter. Then we'll back up from that to go through committee, and we'll get it through the committee about a week or so earlier, and then we have time to get it fixed and then go to the floor.
Do you think this is something that can realistically be passed before end of 17?
Yes. Well, no, not the end of 17 necessarily, but certainly it'll be done signed by the president. The goal is to have it signed by the president before it expires in September of 18. But if Pat Roberts is talking about getting his done in calendar 17, so the sooner both of us get it done, then we'll have a period of time to go through that conference committee process and get this thing together.
And I'll wrap up with this one. I'm wondering if in all of the commentary that you've heard from producers from across the country at this point, is there one comment you just can't get out of your head?
How hard times are. That these, particularly in Texas, we had some folks share with us in such a way that they don't normally open themselves up that way, but times are really hard, and these are cotton guys that have been really hammered. But folks, the importance of the Farm Bill is coming through loud and clear. 14, a little bit different circumstance where times were good, commodity prices were high, they're never going to see another poor day, all that kind of stuff. That's dramatically gone. Like I said earlier, 50% drop in net farm income. People have burned through equity. They're reaching their wits' end. They're getting to a point where they're legitimately just can't do it any longer. And so the desperation is beginning to come through. We got to get this done.
Mr. Chairman, thanks for joining us.
My pleasure. Thanks, buddy. Appreciate it.
Talking here with Ranking Member Collin Peterson, and Ranking Member Peterson, just kind of your initial thoughts on the listening session that we had here today.
Well, I think it was good. I mean, we had one in Texas. Was somewhat similar, although the issues were different. What we heard about there is cotton and peanuts. And we heard it today mostly about crop insurance. That seemed to be the one theme that everybody agreed. We needed to maintain the crop insurance system. But we heard about dairy and CRP and a lot of other issues as well. So, it's depending on the members. Some of them heard things they'd never heard before. Mike and I, most of what we heard here today, we've already heard before because everybody comes to see us, But I think it was very good.
Are you picking up recurring themes as you've gone? This is the third one of these that you've had. Are you picking up?
Well, I'm surprised that we're not getting more pressure to do something about prices. But people seem to have resigned themselves to the. It's not like it used to be 20 years ago where they wanted the government to do something about prices. I think they now kind of understand that we can't do that. So they want a crop insurance system. They want to maintain what we've got, but they want to make sure we don't screw up the trade situation, So it's a little bit different than it used to be, but I think the thing I'm surprised about is we're not getting more pressure to try to do something about prices because people are underwater right now. Nobody's really making any money.
And perhaps unsurprisingly, given the state that we're standing in, a lot of talk about dairy today as well.
Yeah. That's the reason that we got a problem with that is we wrote that when feed prices were way out of sight. They were $12 a hundredweight, now they're $8. And so because of that, the program didn't work the way it was supposed to. So we got to tweak it. And I don't think we should get scored for it, but CBO is still scoring us, so we're going to have to come up with some money to fix it. And that's frankly the big problem with the Farm Bill, is that we need money for cotton, need money for dairy, I'd like to see us raise the CRP cap, and as you heard today, there's other things, beginning farmers and rural development and so forth, that people want money, research. And I don't know where we're going to get the money.
I was just say, do you have the money to do any of those things, let alone all of them?
Not at this point.
And so that's really going to be the big.
We're going to try to figure out how to do that. And I think the chairman and the majority believe that they're going to get it out of SNAP. I think there's some money you can get out of SNAP, but I don't know if there's as much as what we need. And so how we're going to work through that, we haven't got to that point yet.
Mm-hmm. And also the listening session schedule going forward, there's one on Saturday, but I understand you're going to be having a different listening session
there's
in
two
California.
in California. One that Mike's going to be at, the other one I'm going to be at next week. And then
one at Farm Fest in Illinois?
Yep, the 30th of August.
Okay. Are you planning on being in attendance for that one?
I think I will be. And okay. I've got to go to Missouri to help a member that his farmers they feel like nobody's listened to them, so I'm going down there to listen to a bunch of Missouri farmers week after next. So then I think at the end of August that'll kind of be it, and then we'll get back to DC and start putting this together.
At the end of August, once you've had these other listening sessions, will you have the information you need? I mean,
we've got most of it right now. The biggest issue is getting the CBO scores on what we're looking at, and we've been at the bottom of the line, and now apparently we're going to get moved up. And that's what we got to have. We got to know what CBO is going to do with these different proposals to try to figure out how we can fit them in.
Has CBO given you any kind of a timeline estimate?
No, I think sounds like middle of September or something.
Okay. And I'll close with this, and I close my interview with the chairman the same way. Wondering if there's a comment that you heard from a producer, a representative of a group, what have you. Wondering if there's a comment you've heard at these listening sessions so far that you just can't get out of your head, that's really sticking with you.
Well, I think it's the issue of how important all of these guys, no matter whether they're for big farmers or small farmers or whatever political side they're on, how much all of them depend on crop insurance. That's the thing I hear over and over again.
Thank you, Member Peterson. Appreciate you joining us.
All right, thank you.
So there you have it, the listening session for the House Agriculture Committee's Farm Bill discussion wrapped up in Minnesota. More listening sessions on the way in California as well as in Illinois, and we'll be sure to keep you up to date and apprised of the information that comes out of those discussions, as well as other topics throughout the month of August, even as Congress looks to move into its recess month. But I think that's going to do it here near Morgan, Minnesota. For Agri-Pulse, I'm Spencer Chase. Have a good one.